Uh, from Arizona. Kids, anybody else is watching? This is your Uncle Martin. It's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. And I only have like 6% on my phone, so I don't know how long it's going to go. But I've got, yeah, that is that's my one rescue, Lumina. That's another guy. Uh, they can't wait for the fireworks. And anybody that has a dog or a cat, keep them inside, please, because what happens is they run away normally when there's fireworks going on. And I had a couple dogs before these two that did run away. Even with the fence that I had, they climbed over it. So what you have to do is a little suggestion when you have a little pup. You sit outside with all the fireworks, and what you do is say, "It's okay. There's nothing to worry about," and that comforts them. That comfort. It's a comforting situation. Lightning. See this guy right here. Yeah, this guy right here. I had him since a pup. So when we had a couple, it's been two fireworks now, 2 Julys, and then there's New Year's, a couple days. And people, it's like a battle zone over here by me. So I sat down with them and I said, "It's okay. Don't worry about it." Now what happens is that guy right there. Yeah, that guy right there. What he does is he runs toward the fireworks, all right? And that little girl there, Lumina, I don't know what she's going to do. So that's why I'll be sitting out in about, well, fireworks are already starting. And so that's what I'm saying. If you have a cat or a dog that you have not sat down and talked to them about it, you should probably keep them inside rather than outside. This is my suggestion. Also, there's some things that happened to Uncle Martin that I want to talk about very quickly because I don't have any more bars left pretty much on my phone. I didn't get it charged like I should have. So, this is what number one. When I was growing up, I was very we are either more experienced or less experienced. I'm not going to say old or young. I've gone into this. So I was about 8 years of experience, and Dad told me a story that happened to him when he was about 6. It was in Pluckerman, New Jersey. And in Pluckerman, New Jersey, he was on a 5-acre chicken farm. What's the chances of a chicken farm called Pluckerman, New Jersey? Well, Uncle Joe, his brother, who was a little bit more experienced. See, my dad had 3 brothers, 2 sisters. That's all they had in their family. And Bro and I, we had just me and Bro. So Dad was telling us a story when I was about 8 years of experience. He was up in Flagstaff, actually, in Arizona. And he said he was down below the shed where Uncle Joe was, his older brother. And he threw a cherry bomb. That was like about that big. And he threw it down to my dad. And my dad was barefoot. So he was playing with it with his toe. And then he said he kicked it away. And as he kicked it away, it blew up. Well, thank God he kicked it away because my dad said his big toe, it blew up half the size of his foot. And God willing, thank you, that he wasn't wiggling his toe with that cherry bomb. He wouldn't have a toe, is what I'm saying. What's with you? What's with you, buddy boy? Yeah. He's excited because he's already heard the fireworks. I'm sorry. So, that was what I was going to say. Where Dad was at an age, he knew about the situation with the danger of fireworks. Oh, excuse me. You just burped. I don't know if you heard it. Hey, Frederick, how you doing? I'm sorry I missed you guys already that are talking to me. Let me put on my 100 proof glasses here. Hey, I'm enjoying your show. Hey, Frederick, thank you. And I'm watching you now. Hey, Frederick, nice puppy. Yeah, he's going to get one of these. And you can't forget the other dog. You don't give a dog one bone without the other. Lumina. Yeah, come here. Are you on film? Can you see Lumina? Can you see Lumina? Yeah. Yep. Hopefully that came through. I have yet to turn things around on this camera. So where was I? Yes, the cherry bomb. Okay, I don't know if they do cherry bombs anymore, but they do, I think. And that's what I'm trying to get across to kids. Anybody out there? You don't play around with this stuff. Okay, I'm going to tell you one more story. I'm losing my bars here. I'm less than 6 on here now. Okay, so I was like 10 years of experience. I was in Somerville, New Jersey. I was out by the creek. And it was a pretty big creek because they had fish, the suckers. Everybody knows what a sucker is. They have big. You don't eat them. There's a special way of eating them, and you want purified water, which it wasn't happening in New Jersey, that's for sure. It was right next to what do they call that big company then? Johnson and Johnson. We found out later they had a lot of chemicals that went into that water. We won't go there. I'm just talking about what I had at 10, 11 years of experience. Hey, you got to go lay down, boy. He ate that chewy already. That's amazing. He ate the chewy. He's a fast chewer. So what I had was this time in my hand an M80, and now an M80. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. An M80. Do they still make them? I believe they still do. It's a quarter stick of dynamite. Quarter stick of dynamite. That's pretty explosive. Well, I didn't know that. I was like 11, and so I said, "Well, I wonder." I found an oil can that was abandoned next to the creek, and I lit it. I lit the M80. I put it in the oil can. What did I do? I put it next to my head, and I saying, I hear a little fizzing, and then I threw the oil can with the M80 in it. I think it went about 7 or 8 feet out there. And what happened was it blew up, obviously. And all I could find was the top of the oil can and the bottom of the oil can. I didn't know. I looked all over for the rest. There was nothing left. So imagine this, kids, everybody's watching. You do something, I'm not going to say stupid. I was very ignorant of the law of explosives. So here I am jiggling it around thinking, oh, well, I hear it in there, yeah, and I threw it, and then it blew up. God almighty. Can you imagine if it was next to my head? I don't think I would be discussing this story with you right now. So that's what I'm trying to get across on 4th of July. It's important that you understand that explosives are dangerous. There's just nothing. There's casualties all over the United States every year with kids losing a finger or an eye or a nose or an ear or the whole. It's very detrimental. So that's all I wanted to say is, gotta be careful out there. We take things for granted. Arizona, at one point, we could not have fireworks at all in Arizona. All right, you couldn't have a fireworks. You couldn't even have those little sparklers. You couldn't have a sparkler. And I said, that's going too far. You can't have a sparkler. But then there was a governor that said, yeah, we're going to do it. So now I have literally around my house, basically, well, in a few, probably it's going to be it's about 6:20 right now. I always do this, like, sorry I haven't been around for a while, but it's almost 6:30. So by sundown here, which is going to be about another hour and a half, we're going to have a war zone going around me that I'm probably the last house on my block. I got apartments there, apartments behind me, apartments there, apartments there. And I got apartments everywhere around me. And it was like New Year's, a war zone. I don't even have I had a bunch of feral cats, and they just recently came back in the last month. That's why I've been feeding them real good. Maybe they won't run away this time. We'll have to see. Oh, sorry. Hey, Frederick, looks like you're talking to me here. Okay, hello. Frederick, you think I'm funny? You think I'm funny? Some people don't. For God's sake. Okay, sharing this makes me hope. Frederick, I'm so glad you're sharing this. Grateful for life every day. Frederick, do you know being grateful is the most important thing in life? When we're grateful, this shows the higher sources that we are here no matter what is happening to us, as negative it is. And I've had some negativity. I've always said, oh God, I am so grateful. I was barely able to walk 5 years ago. And I still said, God, I'm so grateful. And now I'm walking. But that would be another story. Um, I digress. The importance of fireworks is that you kids, anybody's watching, you want to be having an adult around you, and even adults, you got to wonder sometimes. There are so many casualties going on, and the dogs and cats that are missing. So that's what I wanted to get across right now in this live. Keep your dogs inside, keep your cats inside. If you have ferals, feed them early. And what else? Frederick, you think I'm entertaining? All right, subscribe. And by the way, anybody that would like to subscribe to Uncle Martin, I'll subscribe to you if you have a channel. And if you don't, well, at least if you subscribe, you'll know when I'm going live. That's an option. And, well, you know, if anybody else is watching and doesn't want to subscribe, that's fine. Just give me a thumbs up or down, all right? That's all I'm asking. Am I asking for too much? I don't think so. Okay, so what do we got here? We're in Arizona. Look what I got. Look what I got behind me. I got my jumping cactus, and it hasn't jumped at me yet because it doesn't jump. What it does is, see those little guys right there? You know what happens? They fall off. They fall off, and then they get you. So you have to be careful during windstorms. See, I had this Troya cactus right here. Not this one particularly, but when I lived out in the desert, and the shaman medicine man gave us this test, we only had like this. We were barefoot, well, most of us, and it was like that much, just enough for a footprint. And the footprint went down, and we went a quarter mile through like 6 foot jumping Troya cactus. Now, why would he do something like that? Well, there's a bunch of, the shaman had a bunch of people with them, and I was the only white guy. And I think I talked about that in the cave, if you want to look back on the cave. A lot of stuff happened in the cave. It really did. I haven't even told all the stories on that. I went out in the desert and I lived what year was that? 1976. Very good year. That's when all the planets aligned, by the way. There was a lot of stuff going on. And I lived out there barefoot with just a blanket and a staff for a whole year. Indian Hot Springs. That's when I ran into Miguel, the shaman medicine man. And I talk about that. Just check out, well, I don't know. I got a live with Yaki, shaman medicine man, if you want to get into that. Because if you're interested in Indians, I live with them. Why not? Why not tell you about it, right? Okay, what do we got here? Hey, we got all these questions now. You're entertaining. Okay, where are you from? Okay, where am I from? I'm from Arizona. I'm talking Arizona. Where do you get cactus? Jumping cactus. Plus, we have saguaro cactus. Saguaro cactus, they call them the old men. There's one with the arms going out from a distance. They look like an old man. Not an old man, but a man with more experience. Sounds like you're American. Yes. Looks like you might be from, I don't know. Looks by the light, you're from another country. You didn't say your name. Frederick, how old are you? Well, Frederick, that's a very good point. I'm not old. I talked about this before. I'm not old. You know what I am? I am, well, since you've been born, they say, hey, he's 1 year old. Yeah, he's 2 years old. Every time you get a birthday, they say how old you are. Do you know how limiting that is? Do you realize, psychology-wise, subconscious-wise, you are becoming older every time they say, how old are you? I'm not old. I talked about this before. I got more experience, that's all. And I get people all the time. They're saying, "Oh, I can't even walk. I'm so old." No, you're not old. You got more experience. And when I tell people this, they say, "Oh, they're so excited when I say, you're not old. You got more experience." Because you know what? People understand this on all different levels. I'm just saying we limit ourselves. We limit ourselves all the time. And Uncle Martin is one that does not limit as much as I can myself or other people. This is just the way I've been. And that's especially when I lived out in the desert. I was constantly telling these people that at the Indian Spiritual Hot Springs. So what do we got here? Hey, uh, Omarma, how do you know that you choose the right decision on general? Well, you know what? What I have always found, it's not always the mind that decides. It is your heart, okay? It's your heart that decides. Your heart will always never, ever set you astray. And that's why we have to close. That's where meditation comes in, where you have to quiet yourself. And when you quiet yourself, you start saying, shut up to your mind, your brain, not the brain. It's the mind and your thoughts that are always going. And we always got something that we're thinking about. So you stop by saying, quiet, be quiet. And once you get that attunement of being quiet and listening, the small voice, the very small voice, the one in your heart. And now that's what I was talking about. I've spoken about this before. Your heart has over 40,000, what do they call those things? Engrams. What your brain has over billions, to where it's been proven since 1992. I'm dyslexic. I think I remember 1992. Your heart has enough in it to where it has the ability to speak to you. It thinks. That is my point. Your heart is able to think. Now, it only has 40,000, but that's enough. That's why probably it's so quiet. And your brain, your mind, two different things, by the way. Your mind is always screaming at you. So you have to be able to quiet it. And at that point, your heart will always tell you the truth. When you want to know, hey, what do you think about this? You want to ask your heart. Your heart will never, ever, ever let you give you the wrong answer. I found this time and time again. Sorry, I'm not answering everybody. I'm about ready to probably lose my connection here because I'm really low on things here. How do you know choose a right thing? Americans. Hey, what is this? So what kind of question is this? Are you gay? Most Americans are gay. You know what? I heard this once from a Russian person. It's kind of a sad story, but I thought it was funny. She said, and she was about my experience. She said, "Yeah, I just came back from Russia, and I'm here now, and I was brought up with the understanding that every male boy that wears blue is gay, and every girl that wears pink is gay." I said, "Really? That's what you were brought up in?" I was brought up with, hey, if there's a big bright light, you got to hurry up and hide under your desk. I'm just saying, we want to be balanced in life, all right? We don't want to go to one side or the other extremely. There's a psychologist, Jung, that once said, whether you be male or female, you have to become, well, let's just say, if you're a male, you have to, there's a certain amount of male and female, whether you be male or female. If you're a female, you still got male in you. Male, you got female in you. And you have to address this, but not to go overboard. That's all. A lot of people are maybe a little overboard, let alone in schools. They're teaching to be overboard. I'm sorry. It's not funny. But anyway. Okay, this guy's asking me questions like, hey, Omarama, Hey, bless your heart. Thanks. You're quite welcome. This guy keeps asking me these questions. Do you know what your problem is, Americans? You know what? Thank you for asking me that question. You know why? Because we're at 250 years now of success. I know we've had our downfalls, but if you compare us to anybody else on this planet, everybody's breaking down the doors to get here. Why would that be? You know why, big guy? Who's asking me what America, your problem is, Americans? Do we know what our problem is? Our problem is we got a lot of things internally that we have to take care of. And our forefathers knew this, but I don't know where you're from. I'm guessing from another country that would say such things. Oh, my heart chooses to be Muslim. Well, that's fantastic. You know why? Because the Muslims are very close to Christianity. I don't want to get into religion, but Muslims and Christianity are so close, and yet they've been fighting all this time. Why is it? Because it's a word. You say different words of God, that's all. But it's the same source. You are talking about the same source as Christianity is talking about. It's just you use a different word. A rose is a rose. It's any other name. It still smells the same. All right? That's what it comes down to. And we can't fight over words, but people do. Omar is finished. You intellectual. You know what? That's okay. We agree to disagree. And what do we got? I want him to become a Muslim. He looks great. Hey, he wants me to... You know what? I probably do have that facial hair. But when it comes down to the Quran and stuff, I agree and disagree. Just like the Bible, I agree and disagree. Because there are limitations. There are people that, well, let's just say, I've gone into this before. I was an altar boy, all right, and it was positive, no negative stories. But I give the nuns and the priests a run for their money, because you can tell me everything you're talking about. I remember I remember when I was 22 months of experience, for crying out loud. I've gone into that too. By God's grace, I got this memory that I'm very grateful for. So when you have, well, let's just say, you say one thing, and then, okay, what it comes down to is, if you cannot have love, light, and forgiveness for another person, if you call them an infidel, or say, you guys are saying infidels, and we were talking about people that weren't baptized, weren't going to heaven. These are negative things, all right? I don't want to get into that religion stuff. I'm sorry, I don't have much time on this live, because I'm losing. Well, let's see. No, let him stick to his religion. It's better. You don't need any more lunatics. All right, how many countries have you traveled in your life? Wow, country-wise, I got brothers and sisters that have traveled all over the world. All right, me myself, I've traveled all around the United States, and everybody that I've ever had come out of the night, that went out, that lived in Arizona, lived anywhere, and went out of the U.S., they came back and kissed the dirt of America. All right, why? Because they said it was a different vibration out there. This United States has a vibration that's higher. Well, maybe not India. I don't know. Probably Thai. India has really high vibration. Actually, India and Arizona, if you go right there, we're pretty much connected. So we have people that really are beating down the doors to get here, because I'm not saying we don't have dictators here, but we got more outside of the United States than we do in. All right. So you have to be grateful, and gratefulness is very important. Because if you don't have gratefulness, it's nothing that you're born with. You have to be taught being grateful. All right. It's just one of those things. And some people have never been taught that. I'm dealing with, an upbringing of saying yes or no, ma'am, and being respectful of people with more experience. Now I'm dealing with a lot of kids and, well, people that have not that understanding. And that happens. when you're not brought up with the understanding to be respectful of people with more experience, because you have less experience. So you have to understand that. Okay, you got some nice questions here, buddy. I don't know what your name is, but I can't read. Looks like you might be, I don't know, in the no, different country. What do you think about going to Jordan? Do you know her, Jordan? Jordan, Jordan has a real high vibration. Also, people have to get along. All right. I know you guys out there. You've had centuries and centuries of massacring each other. Right. We've had it within the United States with a color situation. And now I believe we've understood that it doesn't matter what color you are, that you can give respect to everybody. But there's some people just keep promoting negative things, and that's just the way it's going to always be. Now, when it comes to Jordan and the gang over there, man, I'll tell you, again, it's been centuries and centuries of people just fighting and killing each other. But I believe, this is what Uncle Martin believes, this will be stopping one way or another. What I mean by that is, when mankind, if you looked at any of the history, which, by the way, history is a big lie. I learned that and I went to 20 schools. I had 4 fourth grades. And at 10 years of experience, I learned that what they were feeding me in school, I went to 20 schools. What they were feeding me was a bunch of lies. Yeah, how could you have 4 fourth grades with the same stinking test every time? I started in New Jersey. I had the same Christopher Columbus test as I did. Okay, after Jersey, I went 2,500 miles out to Arizona. Scottsdale School District, Tonalea School, had the same test. So the first test I had in New Jersey was a B. Then I come out to Arizona, I had a B. After that report card, I went back 2,500 miles to New Jersey again. And on my third fourth grade, I got a B plus. Why is that? Because I said on the same test, I said, Christopher Columbus rediscovered America. Teacher liked that because we had a current event. Proved that on the Jersey Shore, we had a shield and a helmet pull on the Jersey Shore. Down the road on Boston, there was a Boston. What was it on Boston? They had a stove that rolled up. It was a Viking stove from the ship. I don't know if it was the same ship. So I said he rediscovered America. Columbus rediscovered America. So I got a B plus. I come after the report card. I come back to Arizona, Kenilworth, and they say same test. Mrs. Humphrey gives me this test. I said, this can't be the same test. And I didn't tell her that I had 3 identical tests in my last 3 fourth grades. Maybe it was negative, but yeah, I figured maybe I'll get an A this time. And by the way, I got a B, a BB, and a B plus, but I had a couple others wrong. So always look up the answer to those. I might have not, see, I did the same test. I get a D minus. How could you get a D minus on the same test? You got a B, B plus, you get a D minus. No, I told the teacher, I said, yeah. And she says, you did not follow what was in the book. But my mom said, she gave me the current event that said Christopher Columbus was not here first. It was the Vikings. And this teacher said, oh, I read that already. I said, why? You reassess my grade. She says, no, you're getting a D minus. You didn't follow what was in the book. I said, teacher, the book is wrong. She says, oh, no, you never say that. This book is what you follow. And in my mind, the lighthouse went off, and I said, what? I got to follow what's in this book that's wrong? I'm 10 years of experience. I'm thinking, what are they feeding me? And then I still had to go to like another 16 schools. I'm sorry. That's when my eyes opened up. And by the way, there was a Viking village in New Jersey. You can look it up. If you please vet me on this. It's called the Bernanke Bay. And there was 500 years before Christopher Columbus, this whole village was in Bernanke Bay in New Jersey, off the shore, and it was a lighthouse now. And they found all the artifacts, and this was back in the 30s. So back in the 30s, I'm in 64 when I'm getting this misinformation that I'm supposed to follow. That's my whole point here. They had 30 years to change the books. And by the way, I asked the teacher, hey, why don't they change the books to make it true? She says, oh, we can't do that because you know how much